One day, I came home from school. I was 7 years old. My mom told me my grandmother died. I don't remember much of that day, but I have a vivid memory of going outside to the backyard where I sat among the trees. And I knew I was home. I knew I was safe. There was no separation between the landscape around me and my inner landscape. I had this transcendent moment that I knew all is one, all is connected, and all is good. Little did I know, this became my life's work, connecting the inner life with our life outside, the life that we live. Little did I knew, this would be what I share with people throughout my life, and this will be my mission, to help create a better life, fulfilling life, happier life for myself and the people around me. And I also found out that it's very hard to do. It's not an easy thing. Because in our culture, we are taught that to have, to buy, to consume, is to be happy, is to be fulfilled. And we internalize those messages, and we connect the dot, we try to make sense of it, and we piece our self-identity together. We figure it out. We figure it out of the collections of all that we are, our habits, our thoughts, our worries, our beliefs, our roles. But this is not all that we are. We are so much more than that. But still, we identify as this thing, and we say, this is who I am, and this is I am not. Me, not me. And we obscure a greater reality of who we are. For me, it was a great source of suffering and anguish because I knew a greater reality. And I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be like everybody else. And I had different ideas as well. And I didn't have language for them. I didn't know how to express them. I didn't know how to live them through when I was young. And many times I felt separated. I felt alone when I wanted to really belong. And I was confused, and I thought, something is wrong with me. There must be something wrong with me. I'm sure nobody else feels that ever, but something was wrong with me, and if it was something that was not wrong with me, there was something was really wrong with the world, and if it wasn't for the world, it was everybody else. Well, nothing is wrong with us. Not with me, not with everybody else, and not with the world. We just forget. We forget the sea for the drops. We forget our deeper reality. We forget that who we are is the great, vast, magnificent, beautiful sea. Our deepest nature is one and all. And when we look through the drops, we find ourselves connected to everything. And we dissolve our misconception of separation into the great, deep nature that we are. And naturally, we feel happy. We feel fulfilled and free and loving. We feel infinite, trusting, peaceful, connected. So this is a lot of touchy-feely kind of talk, metaphorical speaking. However, to go along with that, scientists have been looking into the brain, and they look into the brain waves during meditation. And the reason why this is connected here is because meditation is the best doorway to those states of consciousness, to make us better, loving, full, alive beings. So scientists look at the brain when people meditate, and they found two kinds of brain waves. One is that the alpha waves are active during meditation, and the alpha waves are connected with relaxation and intuition. And also, the gamma waves, which those are the more interesting ones to me, are the waves that create harmony in the brain, in all the parts of the brain. And they're associated with creativity and memory and learning. The research about Tibetan monks who sat in meditation and their brains were observed on the inside, and they found gamma waves really active then. But the most interesting piece of this for me is that the gamma waves were also active after they stopped meditating, in comparison to the groups of people who did not meditate. Meditation goes deep in the brain, but not all meditation. So it's not like you're going to sit like this and you're going to get connected. There are methods and there are techniques, and it's pretty sophisticated, but totally accessible. And that's why I've been practicing and teaching that, because not all meditations made equal. So while the scientists are telling us that we are surfing the waves of the gamma waves, I like the poetic language. And I call this the sea of being, where we experience presence, mystery, home. We get in touch with this expanded awareness that we are, and the potentiality that we are, and this wholeness that we are. This is not other than who we are. And it's not always easy to be there. Even for me, with all the experience, many years of experience. 2008, economy tanked. I was one of those who was in the wake of that disaster, was thrown to the shore. It wasn't just that losing a job, there were other life situations that I felt disconnected from my own being and my own sea. The question is, how do we get back when we get lost? How do we get back home when we get lost? It's really good to have a backup system. It's really good to have friends who you can ask to remind you that you are bigger than your problems. I asked my friends who knew me and loved me when I was totally broken, they reminded me that I was so much bigger than my narrow view of my problems and where I was stuck in that moment. And I ask within, and I listen, really listen to the voice that knows connection. And I don't listen to the old stories. You know, the old stories that get us perpetuating our problems and our suffering? Stop. I stopped that. Focus more on what is good and well. And I let myself feel it. Feel that connection that was maybe very tenuous, very light. I let myself feel it and be there. And then I imagine myself being in my sea, being fully connected. Our imagination is a great tool for us to get ourselves back home. And then I use the senses. And using the senses is contrary to what people think about meditation, but for me, that sense of connecting through our physicality is very, very important. So speaking things out so I can hear, writing things so I can see them, tasting delicious piece of chocolate. That's my way in. And I do it every day. I'm not talking about a chocolate bar. I'm talking about first quality, amazing, delicious chocolate. Strawberry. Letting the juices and the sweetness of that pervade my body, pervade my brain, pervade my being, so I can get back in touch with joy and what it is to be whole. And I look at beautiful things, beautiful landscapes, beautiful people, and I meet myself over and over again in my natural way. And we keep, drop by drop, bringing ourselves back home. And we self-mentor. Why self-mentor? Because we are always there. We always think about, oh, I'm going to wait for my appointment with my psychologist or my coach. Or forget about that. It's really about being with myself every single moment so I can make a decision, bringing me close to my goal, taking me away from my goal, bringing me close to my goal, taking me away from my goal, for what I want to live. What is my heart's purpose that I want to bring forth? What is it? Focus yourself on what it is, and then you will be able to go to that place. So I have my intentions close to my heart and on my mind, so I don't forget. Remember, there is nothing more that we need to do than remember. We are already home. All those things that we seek, we are already there. We are already them. Another thing that I do is I write songs, poetry, since I was very young. And I put them to music, or I combine them with other pieces of music, and I chant. And this is an invocation that I wrote in Hebrew and in English to remind myself to come back home. Shekhinah in Hebrew is mysterious presence. And for me, that is the sea of being. Shekhinah, the aspect of the indwelling, where all is connected, and we know we are not other than our personality and the world around us, but we are not other than the great mystery itself. Align my will with yours. Bring close my heart to you. Guide me on your path. Sound in me your voice. Unite me with your essence. Shekhinah, Shekhinah, Shekhinah nisteret. Live your heart's purpose. Be your sea self. Thank you very much.